welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Tommy.
Welcome back to all your Regs, to all your Shinies. Welcome to the podcast. This is the podcast. Please, before we begin, make sure that you're subscribed. You leave a like. You leave a comment. You check out our Instagram and enter the giveaway that we are doing for May the 4th, coming up very, very soon. Tell absolutely everybody you know. Tell your dog, your goldfish, your grandma's reading club.
As long as they have an Instagram and a YouTube.
As long as they got an Instagram and a YouTube and the ability to subscribe to the 1313 podcast, please, for the love of the Lord Almighty, everybody in the world. We got some really sick prizes that we're giving away. And yeah, please hit that sub button, join that giveaway. Follow us on Instagram. And if you haven't already, also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitch. As of this video being live, Jedi Survivor is now live, and I will probably already have the most of the game played through on the Twitch. So you might be a little late, but there's still going to be a VOD. So check out the Twitch channel if you want to see that playthrough of Jedi Survivor. That might also have a best moments wind up on this YouTube channel at some point in time.
Sweet.
But also, if you haven't already, make sure that you are supporting us on Patreon. We love each and every one of you patrons so very, very much. Yeah, join the Patreon. Tom, you wanna read through our patrons?
Yes. So thank you for all who are in our Patreon. Thank you for all who donate to us. And in our Clone Trooper tier, the $3 a month tier, we have Delilah. Thank you, Delilah, for being our one and only Clone Trooper.
Yippee!
In our Grand Admiral tier, $5 a month, and also gives you access to our exclusive Discord channel, Oto Gunga. You have Landspeeder Luke, Stuck in Carbonite, and Jaros 0317 or 0315. My apologies. And then in our Gungan Boss tier, our 1313 a month tier, we have Hunter Schultz, who is our top donator every month. Hunter, we love you. We have Fig Fury, we have Commander Bly, we have Obi-Shan Kenobi, we have Commander Cook, we have Your Casual Clone, and we have Tall Guy 102.
Yippee!
Thank you everyone who donates to the Patreon. You guys are able to help Jacob keep from becoming a serial killer every month with this money. You guys are able
Is that
to,
because of the glasses?
yeah, you guys are able to help Jackson keep from contracting prostate cancer every month with this money. And with this money, you are also helping me keep from contracting hepatitis C. So thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you for helping us get our immunizations.
Want a party? Party hardy. All right, fellas, how's everybody's week going? We know this guy's had a busy week.
Yeah, I started my career this week, guys. So you're probably going to see me less on the podcast, depending on what my work schedule is. As of probably 3 weeks from today, I believe, I get assigned to my permanent work group. So I'm going to be working swing shifts. There's going to be times where I'm just not available. So I will be doing more reviews and stuff throughout the summer. But yeah.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
Everybody will miss you except for when you're back.
Exactly.
Week's been okay. Unfortunately, I talked to my film professor. I'm not allowed to take any of the equipment from the equipment room over the summer. So I'm gonna have to, if I want to shoot any of the stuff I want to shoot, I gotta rent it. So that's a bit of a bummer. But oh well, we'll figure it out. We'll roll tide. Finals is next week. I got three studio classes like for my art major. So that's basically, if you have ever done like a lab or anything for a science class, it's like that. But I have three really big projects. One of them being I have to make another introduction to myself for film class, but it has to be like a full-blown production rather than just like me sitting in front of a camera and like saying 7 words. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough mixing that with finals, other projects, and that's due next Friday. And that has to be, I got to get location releases, lighting plots. I have to storyboard it. I have to script it. I have to make credits for if anybody helps, and I have to have people help me because, yeah. My idea that I want to do is I want to do like something I'm trying to be like me talking to the camera being like, oh, hi, and then like a rogue figure coming up with a lightsaber, and then there being like a miniature lightsaber battle. For me, because it has to be an intro to me for me to unmask the other person and have it also be me. So I thought that'd be kind of funny. But I got to storyboard that tonight after I'm done editing this. And yeah,
roll tide. Tomorrow. You can edit this tomorrow too.
Well, tomorrow's my mom's birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to my mom.
Birthday.
Everybody say happy birthday to my mom. It's
happy
her
birthday.
birthday, so I cannot.
There'll be a daylight wishing it though. There'll be a daylight wishing it though.
Yeah, but a belated birthday is better than no happy birthday at all.
Fair.
Facts.
For me, I have one more full week of classes, and then I have finals week in the second week of May. So just all the workload is kind of crashing down on me at this point. I'm just really sick of it, and I'm just eager to get it done. So trying to hold on to all sanity as long as I can. But I also started kind of like packing a bit more and getting all my equipment ready for my summer training. So that will be coming up soon, and I won't be here for the majority of June, unfortunately.
So if Tommy can't be here and he can't be here, it's probably just going to be me.
That's why we have Connor.
And maybe Connor's probably going to be joining us for any times where everybody else is gone. Connor will be our honorary 1313
because
member.
he's not cringe and actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to Star Wars.
Fair.
He's the 0.13 to the 13. So it's 1313.13.
0.1.
So yeah, you guys are probably going to be seeing a lot more of him over the summer, just because busy,
Busy bees.
but not as busy.
Unless there are times you want to podcast at 3 a.m. That might be fun. A live show at 3 a.m.
I'd be
Live
down.
show at 3 a.m.
It's the summer.
over Zoom.
Guys,
Dude.
we are podcasting with the Among Us potion at 3 a.m.
That'd be funny.
That'd be pretty good.
I would not. It'd be funny if we could start doing like on location, because I wanted to do this over the winter. I wanted to film a podcast on the ice when like the lake froze, but it didn't freeze. It didn't freeze.
It's
this
still
year.
wintertime. What are you talking about?
It snowed yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, but like not like the harshest part of the winter where we would actually get like a bay or lake freeze.
Oh, that's right. You were in the coma for the last 9 months.
Yeah.
It's still wintertime. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been living in my head.
I'm in your walls.
That's why my glasses are different. I'm actually the original Jacob, the one with the round glasses.
Is this
a
Filthy
clone.
Frank lore, but 1313, where
Yeah.
when he changes to sunglasses, it's not actually Filthy Frank?
Well, no, this one, yeah, but this round glasses is clone Jacob. And then Connor's just like.
How do you
he's
know
like-
if you're the clone of the real one?
I don't, but
Connor is a clone of Jacob.
Yeah,
though.
Connor's like
Basically.
Connor's a Bad Batch clone of me because he's
Dude.
almost there.
You guys even like have the same like speech cadences at some points. Like there would be when I was editing that episode, there would be times where like I would be listening, kind of like passively, and I would look over and I'm like, that doesn't sound like Jacob, and it would be Connor, and I was like, they talk the same. Like that's weird.
Dress the same. They wear the same
Yeah,
glasses.
we're both. Yeah, well, he wears the glasses I used to wear, like those Ray-Bans. So
It's just Jacob on demand. That's what we'll
Yo.
call Connor.
Jacob on demand. If you're watching this, Connor, hi. But okay, so there's nothing new for Star Wars.
Ahsoka.
This is like content-wise.
Yeah.
We haven't. This is the first week that we've gone all year without a new Star Wars show. How's everybody feeling about it?
It's not a good day.
I was so busy this week so far that I didn't have time to notice. So, but yeah, it was weird.
I'm kind of bummed about it.
But we get Vision Season 2 in a week.
I have a final and a festival to do on that day. I'm literally gonna be. I think my final is at like 10 in the morning. So
I'm waking up early to watch it.
oh my gosh, I'm gonna die.
Just gonna have to watch it after work. The nice thing though is that when I'm at work, it's weird working full time because you just literally don't have time to be on your phone. So like I'll just easily be able to avoid spoilers. So
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
that is really nice. It's not gonna be like this itching like, oh, but I can't go on this app. I can't go on this app. But, yeah.
But for me, I don't work full time. I work part time. Yippee! Okay, so Star Wars news. There's not a whole lot to go over other than we got Jedi Survivors out now. As of not yesterday, but the day before, it was the preload day for you to get that game pre-installed. Did you get it pre-installed?
Today? No, I didn't yet.
Oh, I got mine pre-installed.
Well, when I bought it, it pre-installed.
You
It
have
did the download thingy.
It does the download. It only does halfway because that's what it did for me. And then it says it's when it hits that ready to start thing, it stops the queue. It's not done. Uninstall it, reinstall it.
Okay.
Because I had that problem with mine. It was very deceiving. Are you gonna get a new Xbox with your big boy paycheck?
I'm probably gonna get a tattoo first, and then I'm gonna get
Priorities.
Xbox. Yeah.
In that case, you need to tune in to the VOD to get all of the Jedi Survivor.
No, it's okay. I'm sure that some TikToker 20 minutes after the game comes out will have changed their time zone and then spoiled the ending for everybody.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, that'll blow. No, I'm very excited for that. Also, there's another little thing. Figure Brian was posting on Instagram that Dave Filoni has given out his recommendation list of Rebels episodes that you need to watch before Ahsoka. Personally, I want to avoid any sort of knowledge going into Ahsoka. You can look at that list and rewatch those episodes if you want a refresher. I'm just going through the entirety of Rebels.
Maybe you should just watch the whole show instead of cherry picking episodes because Rebels is a good show.
Yes,
Yep,
it's
that
a
is
really
factual.
good show, and I think everybody should watch
And if
it.
you're one of those weirdos that refuses to watch Rebels,
Rainbow hasn't seen it.
you gotta get on that.
I've bullied him. I saw him at Walmart like last week, just before you went to Collegiate to talk to ROTC.
Mhm.
I saw him and I was like, "Watch? You gonna watch it?" And he's like, "Actually, but
He's like,
Well,
the
the
animation looks
animation-
awful.
I hate when people say that.
it's the."
The parrot robotic response. The animation is bad. Therefore, I do not watch it. It's like talking to an AI.
Those AI rap stuff is getting really good. Did you see the one I sent you, the Drake feature with Tyler?
I did.
Yeah.
They did a Drake one with The Weeknd, and like Columbia Records had it taken down everywhere and put out a statement saying that like you can't support AI music because it'll take away the precious earnings from the artist. And it's like, how about if the AI music can make better music than Drake ever could?
Yeah, like all the Drake ones. I hate Drake's music. I love all the AI ones because they're actually good. I'm like,
Ain't that the truth?
Drake ain't just fruity in his rapping. I mean, Certified Lover Boy was pretty good. I'm not gonna cap. There's a song or two I like off of it, and the one he just did with 21, I really like 21 Savage. So I mean, there's only a few good ones.
21.
That's so funny, dude.
for me? Dude, I try to play the absolute masterpiece of a song, "Man or a Muppet," on my Google Home.
Yep.
And I just asked, hey, play Man or a Muppet, and it dug up some punk version with like 3 listens on Spotify. It was terrible. I was like, where did you find this?
Did you guys know that Machine Gun Kelly invented pop punk? That's an interview I saw recently, like a man on the street type interview. He's like, did Machine Gun Kelly save pop punk? And the girl goes, Machine Gun Kelly made pop punk. Did you also see the one, I think we might have talked about this, where it was like, let's take Mr. Brightside by the Killers and make it pop punk. And they took down the video because every comment was like, it's already pop punk.
That's stupid.
If you weren't born in the 2000s, you just won't understand between 1995 and 2005, you just should not bother trying to recreate pop punk because it's already a genre. Stop.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Granted, MGK's first album with his Tickets to My Downfall was actually pretty good. I rather enjoyed that album. The second one, oh my gosh. Like, it sounded like somebody removed his brain and said, do it again. He went, it's so bad. Like,
Motley Crue. He played in the Motley Crue movie. That's right.
he was Tommy Lee in The Dirt. That movie's actually really good.
Yeah.
This is what happens when we don't have new Star Wars
He used all
content.
his intelligence on.
But we do have a topic for this week
we
that
do
we
have
can get into for y'all.
We do have a discussion
14 minutes
topic.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're
So-
entertaining still, right? Right, guys? We're entertaining.
So this was something that Jackson and I had been talking about the last few weeks. Just
Yes.
kind of generally frustrating. So Jackson, if you want to take us into what this topic is.
Sure. So the topic that we decided to kind of discuss this week is something that's a little bit near and dear to us, and it's more so about scams and just misinformation in the Star Wars community, because we feel like it plagues so many aspects of this community, and so many people very easily drink the Kool-Aid and believe it because it's just available, and there's not a whole lot of like, hey, maybe you should understand like this kind of thing before you like start repeating what this person is. So like an example that I have from that to very much out somebody who no longer exists is Dinks, the puppet guy. So in one
Dinks, the
specific
Star Wars
question that he was
puppet.
asked was about like if the Jedi Temple had like a dark side like properties to it. And so if you're, like a casual Star Wars fan and you're scrolling through TikTok and you see somebody say that like, oh, this is actually this because in this book it talks about, that's where I'm immediately going to say pump the brakes, because for a lot of new people who are just getting into Star Wars, I feel like it's very important to understand the concept of legends and canon, that Legends material is the material that was created to kind of fill in gaps of Star Wars like stories before Disney purchased it and wanted to say this is the definite timeline that is canon that we will be focusing on. And all of these things that went outside of that are no longer in the canon because we feel like they went too far in the story and we want to be able to have the reins on that.
They just excommunicated everything that wasn't visual. Everything that was books and video games became legends.
Basically.
Took over.
Yeah, because it was people that were not George Lucas that were making projects and making, there were so many alternate versions of the same timeline.
Yeah.
Completely new characters. And that's not to discredit anyone's enjoyment, because a lot of that stuff is very, very, very good. But it's Disney. It was Disney's decision to make things a little bit more organized, and honestly, I think that was a really good decision. Was to just go in and say, okay, the problem is that it never was canon.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. They didn't take away, and that is a big piece of misinformation. Is that there are creators out there that will tell audiences and casual viewers and casual fans that this stuff was canon, and then evil Disney and the evil mouse came in and made it uncanon. And the problem is,
it never was.
It never was to begin with.
Like people saying, "Oh, Starkiller was canon, then Disney took it away." His game ends in two ways: you kill Darth Vader, or you kill the Emperor before Episode 4 happens.
Yeah.
How does that make it canon? I'm like, it would be cool if Disney were to bring his character into Star Wars again. Starkiller is a good and fun character that lots of us grew up on, and we like him a lot, but he was never canon to begin with. I don't understand the argument of Disney decanonized Starkiller. He never was. It was just a fun video game.
Yeah.
He kills Shaak Ti. Shaak Ti is in that game. She dies in Episode 3 in a deleted scene. So she's dead.
Shaak Ti died like 6 times in the Star Wars not canon. So
they had a lot of fun ways of ending her.
The biggest thing for me about the Legends stuff is that the power levels are just way too strong for what is canon. I mean, if you look at like Darth Nihilus, for example, Darth Nihilus's whole story was that he would consume entire planets using the dark side of the Force, and that was all he did. He wasn't even a physical being. He would just consume entire planets using the dark side of the Force. And stuff like that, and Starkiller, being able to just take a Star Destroyer and with ease force pull it into the ground. That doesn't fit with I feel like the only people who could maybe even do that and would struggle to do that would be Anakin / Vader or maybe the Emperor. Because they are the two strongest Force beings that we've seen. I mean, just look at how much Ahsoka struggles to keep the Maul's shuttle from leaving the hangar, or how much Rey struggles to keep a simple transport from leaving the atmosphere.
And Kylo.
Yeah.
And then Vader just and Kenobi just this space bus approaching escape velocity. He just
And even I know this is another Legends thing, and this goes to just because we're not trying to say that like all Legends material is bad, because I've stated several times on the show, I do not read or care about Legends
Jackson
material.
does not know how to read. You heard it here first.
Oh my gosh. Because it isn't canon stuff, but there's a lot of things from the canon that are being taken from that. But even speaking to Tommy's point of overpowered things, there are literal beings that travel through hyperspace and kill you in Legends. Like, in my opinion, that is just not Star Wars.
There's a lot of, because I've been reading more, and there's a lot of things in Legends though that I'm starting to actually like really like.
Dang.
Like these Heir to the Empire books is doing to the original trilogy what Clone Wars did to the prequels for me. I'm like loving all these original trilogy characters so much more, just because it's more new content for them. Like with me, I'm getting like to grow on these characters. They're like maturing, and it's more to them, and I like it a lot. And in what you were referencing, that little space being that hovers in hyperspace and that can just kill you, I don't know what it's from. I don't know if it's a comic or if it's a book. I don't know what it is. I need it to be canon because man, is it cool.
No.
Isn't it called
not a
Star
fan.
Weird?
Yeah, we talked about it on our Halloween episode.
Yeah, we did.
Like a long
yeah,
time.
we did.
Um,
We showed a picture of it too.
yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like they could dumb it down to bring it into canon, but I like the idea that because hyperspace is like when you think about it, extremely dangerous. You're just punching coordinates into a computer and you're hoping an asteroid or something doesn't just float in the way of your ship like while you're going through hyperspace because it'll kill you instantly.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you never hear about hyperspace accidents except for in the first High Republic book.
Yes.
Its entire story is multiple Jedi saving people from, well, at least the beginning of the book, because I haven't made it all the way to the end. There's people saving people from a hyperspace disaster where like a giant, basically cruise ship collides with something in hyperspace and pieces of it break off into different systems and start pummeling multiple planets. So it's like a galaxy-wide issue, and it's like all these Jedi are being deployed to different parts of the galaxy trying to save as many people as possible. So that's like hyperspace accidents are a thing. Why can't there just be one alien that just goes in space every so often that causes accidents? It's like if you live in Pennsylvania, you know deer are a plague on our roadways. It would be hyperspace deer. That's all it would be.
Or even just like, isn't one of the things explored in Heir to the Empire that there's an entire other galaxy of beings not affected by the
The
Force?
Yuzon Vong.
Yeah, the Yuzon Vong. And
That's
it's
not
like,
an Heir to the Empire.
It's in that same timeline.
It's probably in a book that came after it.
okay,
It's
in
like
the Legends material.
it says Shadow of the Empires, like that.
I think it's Shadow of the Empire.
Because it's the Power of the Force line of figures had the Shadow of the Empire line of figures to it.
Okay.
Now, I think that's what it is. I haven't gotten it yet.
But my point with that being is that like the whole galaxy is created to use the Force and like everything binds to it. So then by creating stories that aren't based in the canon now, where it's like you completely defeat the idea that the Force controls everything is, you know, I feel like breaking the very laws of Star Wars in a way.
It's why you can never, I don't think you could ever bring the Islamir or the Islamari into canon.
Yeah.
Because their entire thing is they're creatures that are, they're null to the Force. They have a bubble around them basically that the Force cannot affect. And Thrawn just has like 4,500 of them on his ship at all times, and he's got a wool coat basically made out of them. They have like these nutrient frames installed on the stormtroopers and stuff, and they carry them like when they try to go and attack Luke Skywalker and stuff. So it's like, I mean, yeah, it's a cool thing in the books. For the books, it works, but I feel like when you try to expand that into the greater scheme of things, I feel like it ruins a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like I even see it like, but the point is that you see with the Disney canon that they are taking things from all parts of Legends and bringing it into canon and making it work. Thrawn being the biggest example of a Legends character that people really love coming into canon. You look at the Republic Commando game is not canon, but the Republic Commandos are canon because they were put into the Clone Wars. Later we see Scorch in the Bad Batch. Another example as well is bringing characters like Dirge into the canon comics. The comics are this like loose canon, but you have a character that is not considered canon on screen. You're bringing him in, making him work in the current canon. So
one of the big enemies of Jedi survivors of Dirge's species, and I wouldn't be surprised if we had because this is in the same, because Dirge is seen in Dr. Aphra. This is about the exact same time that those comics take place. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see that this bad guy answers to Dirge in Jedi Survivor, or Dirge is in some way, shape, or form involved into this game. That it would be cool. It's probably not going to happen, but it's very plausible.
But yeah, even with that as well, so talking about just like the misinformation. So I mean, like you'll see the videos where these people talk about stuff, or I see these posts on like Facebook or Instagram that'll be like the still shot of a character and be like, did you know that for this reason a lightsaber is colored purple because like this and this? Like one of the biggest like examples of that even is like Mace Windu's lightsaber is purple because
he's almost a dark side.
Because he uses the light side and the dark side of the Force, which is not a correct concept. Freddie Prinze Jr. has a very heated argument online that you can watch explaining how there is no middle to the Force. Yes, the Father is an exception, and I will stand at that and the Bendu is too. However,
Because that's literally
they're
the
mystical things of the
But
Force and representation.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was arguing that there is no gray Jedi.
Yeah.
There are things that are Force wielders that are not Jedi or Sith.
Yes.
That are in the middle and more morally gray, but there is
Yes.
no such thing as a gray Jedi
Yes.
in the current canon. This is another thing that it's okay if you think gray Jedi are super cool and you've read about them and stuff like that in Legends stuff. I'm not going to take that away from you from one fan to another. The problem is that it has been established that there is a canonical reason why it doesn't work in the current canon.
And granted, Connor mentioned this on the episode that he was on for Celebration, but there in the High Republic books, there's a miniature story about a Jedi apprentice flicking towards the dark side, but then coming back. I feel like that if that is something that's canon, it leaves no room for gray Jedi, because it's either using the light side of the Force and you're using it for good, or using the dark. But you can always, as somebody that does good, you can give into the dark side, but that doesn't turn you evil, and you don't just go evil now.
Right,
It's,
right.
It's a balance. It's like any sort of moral code in real life. It's like
Yes.
you can be a morally good person, and you're gonna mess up, and that messing up could be really big, and that could be turning to the dark side, or it can just be something small, or it's the pull to it, because the pull to do something evil is a lot easier to do the right thing sometimes, which is the entire dilemma of the light side and the dark side of the Force. So I like the fact that there's no middle of being like, I'm a good guy but also a bad guy. There's no Deadpool in Star
Yep.
Wars.
No anti-hero.
There can't be. Like, either you're a villain that's redeemed. You can't be an anti-hero in Star Wars and be a Force wielder, because then
I'm glad you made the
Of a
Force wield-
specification.
yes, Force wield.
Yeah.
Because you can have like Bo-Katan did this. She was a bad guy. She was the anti-hero in the Clone Wars in the beginning because she sided with Vizsla, but then Darth Maul takes over. She has a common enemy with the Jedi, squads up with Ahsoka, becomes good guy.
Yeah.
And then she's a good guy throughout the rest of Mando. And while I'm on that topic, there's a podcast that Katie Sackhoff did.
I saw that.
And
Are you a 2%er, Jacob?
I'm definitely a 2%. But there's also a point in that where they were talking about, in the writing, was there going to be was there a discussion about Bo and Din being a thing? And she was like, it was talked about, and there's one scene where Bo-Katan kisses Mando through his helmet, like in an outtake as a joke. But they were like, we should have kept that in. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that.
I wouldn't have liked it, to be
Me
honest.
neither.
I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah,
Maybe
'cause
if that's
then I
like
couldn't have
expanded in another season, but like
Yeah. But
got
I
the
do
poetic
agree. I
ways.
think because if you look at characters like the Bendu is a neutral Force user, but he still helps the good guys and attacks the bad guys. Same with the Father in the Clone Wars. He is a neutral Force user, but he still is like protecting from his son, who is a dark side. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
and same with Chirrut Imwe. It's a Force sensitive person, but he's a good guy. You know, that there is no like, yeah, and I choke someone out and Force electrocute them, but I'm still a good guy.
I feel like
There's
the
no
father,
John Wick in Force users.
I feel like the father is a bad example for this, because I see the father not as somebody that is the middle ground of the Force. I see the father as the embodiment of the entirety of the Force, with the son and the daughter being the extremes to both end,
Yeah.
with the father keeping the balance between them. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily a middle. I would say that encompasses all,
Okay.
rather
That's
than
fair.
just a middle point.
That's probably as close as you will get to a gray Jedi in the Star Wars canon.
yeah.
I wonder if I think it would be cool if we had more characters like the Bendu, though, appear in Star Wars. Not like somewhat spiritual, like, because I guess you could say probably the Loth Wolf is another one that's really, really close to it, because the Loth Wolf is a product of the Force. The Loth Wolf, like the white one at least, isn't an actual being.
Doom.
It's an embodiment of the Force connected to the planet, which is another reason why you guys all need to go and watch Rebels, because that show in the later seasons, it becomes less of haha kid Ezra learning. It dives in so deep into what the Force can do, and it's so cool. So it's like the Loth Wolf is this apparition of the Force connected to Lothal. I would love to see more things like the Force directly connected to other planets in some form of spiritual being or place or something like that.
But yeah, I mean, especially really what we're getting to as well in the terms of the misinformation is to really understand like where the people are kind of drawing us to begin with. You know, if it's from these sources that are legends books, which if you want to know if a book is legend or not, it will literally say it on the book now. It will say legend on the banner. And that just kind of goes for any of the comics that came out.
Or if the book was published before 2013.
Yes,
There you
exactly.
go. It doesn't have the Disney logo on it.
Disney is at re-releasing some that has
Some.
it's they're all paperbacks and they say essential legends on them. They're like the best of the legends. The entirety of the Heir to the Empire series just got re-released. Death Troopers is currently at our Target. It's probably at yours. I cannot recommend that book enough. It is so cool. Please, if you like things that are spooky, pick up that book. Or if you just want a completely different take on Star Wars, pick up that book. There's another, there's a Darth Maul one that's currently out, and I think they're adding 3 more this year to the Essential Legends. Nice. We might even get a reveal for it on StarWars.com on May the 4th.
Now, another part of misinformation that I wanted to talk about. I was just
going to tell you to go.
Was people like Geeks and Gamers and Mike Zero and those really, for some reason they have hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions of subscribers, and they connect everything and anything through sources of dude trust me to politics, to American politics, to contemporary politics. They're calling things woke. They're calling things, everything is looked at from the lens of, the evil woke people are ruining my Star Wars. And I don't understand how, because honestly, I think that's where a lot of the toxicity in the fandom comes from. People will log on, they'll search Star Wars on YouTube. That's one of the first things that pops up. Yeah. They're going to see that Kathleen Kennedy is in a civil war with George Lucas and Jon Favreau, and that George Lucas is returning to Lucasfilm and has fired Kathleen Kennedy. And there's things like that happen over. And every month, the video comes out again, over and over.
Yep.
Or things like, and I'm not saying that no one is without sin. There are things that every corporation has done that are messed up here and there, but it's not like every decision that they make is why would a franchise that's trying to make, or a corporation that's trying to make money off of a franchise want to, in every decision they make, piss off the fan base? That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I absolutely hate this whole thing of Kathleen Kennedy is everything that's wrong with Star Wars. She's the one that's... Okay. Kathleen Kennedy is a producer. She might have some hands into some changes with Star Wars that might lead to something that the average fan or a diehard fan might not really appreciate. But then again, Star Wars is a generational thing. It's made for new generations.
And it's made for kids.
Mm-hmm. It's made for families. It's moving through generations. It's now lots of stuff, like it or not, is trying to cater to a younger audience and a more progressive mindset of people. That's how life is moving. That's how people are now starting to adopt in their ways of thinking. But I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is the big end all be all. Oh, she does everything well. Wasn't she George Lucas's right hand guy?
Nobody
she helped him on.
Nobody knows that.
She helped George Lucas and Steven Spielberg on Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I know that she was involved with Raiders. I'm pretty sure that she was involved with the prequels to an extent.
Yeah,
yep.
She's
George's right hand person, quite literally in some circumstances.
She was kind of like Dave Filoni before Dave Filoni came around, because she was under his wing learning about everything what all this is.
She was Dave Filoni from a more of a producing standpoint.
Yes, but now Dave Filoni is a producer as well, rather than just a director, because he produced Rogue One.
There's a common fact that people also forget, that George Lucas, when he sold Star Wars, he picked Kathleen Kennedy to be the president of Lucasfilm. Mm-hmm. He chose her. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't, that's another thing. I'm just so I guess I'm just confused as to...
I don't understand why all the fans think that...
How they buy into it.
Yeah, that how they... Not only are they goaded to something that seems so far-fetched in every single video. It's first of all, where are you getting this information? You, this random YouTuber, How do you know what's going on within the inner circle of a billion-dollar corporation on one of the most profitable IPs of all time? How do you know this?
Dude, trust me.
It's like, not only do they never present a source, everything just seems so far-fetched and out of place, but the problem is that the people that are buying it are the people like, the sequel sucked. I hate the sequels. This woman is in the Force thing is dumb. It's like, it's the politically charged Star Wars fans that are eating this up because it might as well just be the latest dishing of diss tracks from Joe Biden and Donald Trump with them spitting lies at each other. Yeah. It's like...
See, but then that leads to the mentally unintelligent Republican conservative fan base like us, according to people on
Red Pill
TikTok.
1313.
Which, again, we do not touch the political side or the lens of Star Wars ever. Because we associate Star Wars with Star Wars, and that is it.
Mm-hmm. Although Star Wars is deeply steeped in politics, especially in the prequels, we don't really care that much.
It's not that serious.
We just don't. I'm not going to share my personal political opinions with you because I'm not trying to. That's not what this podcast is.
But we're all just GOP, all bad people, according to TikTok.
According to the internet.
If you don't know, check out the comment section on Jackson's Clones Don't Deserve Pensions. Terrible, terrible take. And then you'll understand.
Clearly, you've never been in a military service before. But...
Yeah, put this guy in the army.
Put this guy in the army. See how he feels.
All those comments made me just smile.
The irony of that. Now here's my other thing is like the toxicity. So you have these videos, right? And tens of thousands of people watch these videos religiously. Now they're turning around and taking that toxicity and just... Hybrid Toy Reviews did a really good video on his Topical Tuesday series last week or the week before, where they just he said, they word vomit at you. They literally just word for word take what they heard in that YouTube video and just spew it at you, and they just expect it's the idea that Star Wars can only be enjoyed one way. Like when we were talking about Legends just now, the whole time and you can enjoy that if you want. Like, I'm not going to tell you...
I'm loving it. I'm absolutely... None of it is canon, and I'm eating it up like it's rice and potatoes.
I don't care that much, but that's fine. That isn't for me to take away from Jacob or anyone else. Enjoy it.
And if he enjoys it, he enjoys it. And that's what I don't get, is specifically towards the sequel trilogy. It's like, I will see TikToks, and somebody, someone will put Rey, that Star Wars tier list thing that came up. That
they'll say Rey's the best. They'll be psych.
Dude, they'll even put her in the D tier above one other character, like a patrol trooper from Solo. Yeah. And people will just attack that person in the comments about I'll be honest with you, it's all young men that are I'm gonna be real with you, it's all young men and old stinky men that are it's like, dude, can you get a life? That's kind of where I'm at.
In the words of Freddie Prinze Jr., you're just mad Han Solo gave the Falcon to a girl. And you are. Unfortunately, you are. A lot of people are. Granted, there is a lot of good reasons to not like on Rey's character. But granted, there's also a whole lot more reasons to like her character than to not like her character. And I honestly think the weakest argument about not liking Rey is that, she got so powerful so fast. Guess who also did? Luke Skywalker. He went from being on a farm to blowing up an entire space station using the Force to guide a missile into a hole this big. Within 2 hours, with his master being dead after only knowing him for approximately a day and a half. So I'm really sick of hearing that argument about, Rey got too powerful too fast. It's like, guess your favorite character of all time also did, if you're looking at it through the same lens, but it's different.
It's also it's even to the point where people will do the bracket lists where they do brackets. I saw one poor guy today said that he liked The Mandalorian over Anakin Skywalker, and people just tore him up. He was like, yeah, it was just my opinion, whatever. And people were just tearing him apart in that comment. I'm like, dude, it's just somebody's opinion. I think that's more of a general cultural thing that we're struggling with right now is understanding that it's okay to have a different opinion than the person sitting next to you, especially on the internet.
It's gonna be all right.
I'm also, it's like, it makes me kind of upset to be as big as an Anakin fan as I am, because people are kind of elevating Anakin to this godlike tier that I don't think is very deserving. I love him. He's probably one of my favorite characters in fiction of all time, but y'all need to calm down. Like, people are acting like if you don't like Anakin or Obi-Wan as your favorite characters of all time, I saw somebody put Anakin as their 4 in their tier list with Crosshair, Kylo Ren, and like,
Wow.
I forget who else above it. And the comments were just, so nasty. It's like, dude, it's not your list. It doesn't have to be your list. You can like Anakin. You can really like Anakin. I really like Anakin. But guess what? I'm not beating Tommy up because he doesn't like Anakin as much as I do. Okay. Or I'm not strangling Jackson because he thinks Jango Fett is one of the best characters of all time. I don't care. It's a personal opinion. You can, granted, if anything, I like liking a character that not a whole lot of people like to begin with, because it feels like this is like a character that's mine. Yes. It's kind of like with Thrawn.
That's the perfect part of Star Wars, is that there's so much. Like, think about all the cons even. People dress up as the most obscure characters ever. Like, people dressed up as the Knights of Ren, which arguably are not very liked characters or very well known characters either. And you have all these bizarre offshoot character costumes that people do simply because that one scene that they saw of it made them like it.
You guys ever see my 501st costume?
Yeah.
My guy has 3 lines across 2 Clone Wars episodes.
Yep.
At Celebration, Connor's dad was showing me, there was a girl at Celebration that was in a costume of a girl in the 70s, handmade her own X-Wing pilot costume, and there's a Polaroid of it. And it's not like, it's like been like a subsurface meme in the Star Wars community of her in her little outfit. And it's such a deep cut, and she made her own outfit of a meme that's like below the surface from the 70s.
How about the guys dressed as the prisoners from Andor?
Yep.
All of them. Did you see that they had a shirt that said like, Kino's swim class, and then in Arbesh underneath it says I can't swim, and it's like a big floaty, like a lifesaver. That was a shirt that they were selling at Celebration.
That's
love it,
and I want it. I really do.
But yeah, even just to call back to Tommy's point, like, if somebody on the internet ever tells you that Kathleen Kennedy or the Star Wars like team is in a civil war, there is no reason that you need to believe that's even remotely true for a second. Like, if that was an actual event going on, it would have been covered by multiple credible news sources, and
that's
not a YouTuber.
So the thing about it is, like, you'll see like a lot of these YouTubers will be like, well, I know someone on the inside and I don't want to out them for blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's such a cop out for like, what a good excuse, honestly, for being able to
hurt my inside guy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like us getting Black Series figures like months before people and be like, sorry guys, we have an inside guy. But instead we're like, hey guys, here's our inside guy, get the figures early.
The problem is that it's in their mind, I mean, they're making a ton of money off of it.
Oh,
from
absolutely.
Subscribers, views, Patreon, like you got like channel subscriptions. These dudes are making bank at the expense of the community and misinforming people out of their own selfish interests.
At the expense of their self-respect.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting things early, did you guys see? Okay, so Hasbro is pursuing buying Wizards of the Coast. They're the people that are in charge of Magic the Gathering right now. Did you see that Wizards of the Coast sent a streamer a set of cards, like I think 4 weeks before it was supposed to come out? This happened like over the weekend. And they literally sent a SWAT team to his house with like guns drawn, guns blazing, to recover these cards because they were early. Like, they raided some dude's house.
I thought Hasbro did own Magic the Gathering already.
It's kind of funny.
In that case, Hasbro just raided a man's house.
Dang.
Let me check on that.
It was like, because at first, of course,
it's Wizards of the Coast still. Yeah.
Because of course, lots of the news that you see, it's like, you see it first on TikTok, and I go, that can't be right. And then I do my own research into it, and I was like, oh my gosh, they did. And the hired SWAT that they used to do it were the Pinkertons.
Yeah, I can't believe they're still alive.
They're still alive.
Well, around, I should say.
Well, that's I saw a TikTok where a dude was saying that it was Hasbro.
That's the one I saw. And I was like, I don't think, because he said Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. And I was like, okay, they're two separate things. I don't think Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast.
No, they don't.
They have been in talks about owning it, but Wizards of the Coast is still their own private entity, to my knowledge.
Jacob, a perfect example of misinformation.
This was misinformation that I saw very prevalent on TikTok. This is why anytime I see anything that has any sort of news, any sort of politics, anything on TikTok, I immediately, if I have like even a strand of hair of caring, I'll do my own research into it first to confirm these. And granted, you can tell within the first 3 articles whether or not if it's something that's like this really big thing, like for example, the cheesehead Green Bay Packers guy, quarterback,
Aaron Rodgers got traded to the Jets.
Just got traded to the Jets.
I saw that on TikTok.
I keep getting told I look like Aaron Rodgers.
I hate him. I saw it on TikTok, and I was like, I heard there's been whispers about this since the season ended. I'm like, this is either really true or really not. And then I went online and I looked, and sure enough, it's a thing. Yep. His career is over. So
now here's my thing. The problem, and so for a casual fan, if you're watching this, it's the best way to identify misinformation is, one, if a content creator is screaming and yelling about something,
maybe you should take that point away, because I do that a lot.
Well, there's a difference between Jacob screaming and yelling and
I just get excited,
and someone who is just shouting information, because Jacob's screaming and yelling comes more from reactions than it does to, and like his feelings about things. One, if someone is shouting information at you and telling you how you should feel about said information, that's red flag number 1. Red flag number 2 is when that person is telling you that you need to act a certain way about something. That if they're telling you to take action about something and they're angry about it, that's red flag number 2. Mm-hmm. It's stuff like that. If you can identify that right off the bat, and again, another thing, 90% of the stuff you hear that has to do with Star Wars stuff behind the scenes, probably not true. Mm-hmm. Unless it comes from a credible source that they're going to say what the credible source is, it's not going to be true.
That's why I think our podcast is pretty lit, pretty chill, and that's why you should watch us, is because when we find any sort of information, we try to back it up. We all went to a really good school in high school with a really strong language arts curriculum that really taught us very strongly that if we're making an argument, you need to back up that argument with at least 3 sources. So
4 instead.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like that has at least been ingrained into our skull enough for, we don't want to, because we're Star Wars fans too. We would feel terrible if we, like when we got the Celebration Live wrong.
Yeah,
we felt bad.
Stupid about
that. We felt dumb. We felt sad because we wanted to watch Celebration Live. It wasn't something that like we wanted everybody else to be like, oh yeah, this isn't happening, so we can gatekeep the live stream to ourselves. No, this was something that we had a source from their website saying that there was nothing going to be, there wasn't going to be a live stream until there was an official announcement about it, quite literally the next day. So, granted, it was just bad timing on our part, but at least we had a source, which was the website we were trying to back it up with.
Yeah. Even in my major, that's like the biggest thing. I give so many presentations to teachers that if you cannot literally point to them the source and where you got the information from, you get crucified where you stand. Because you'll talk about and be like, this statistic clearly shows this, so it's likely to assume that this and this could be the outcomes. And they're like, how? You're just that stupid? You didn't find anything? But it's like, again, it's ingrained in us to find you guys relevant information so that we can be accurate and honest. Like, if there have been plenty of things on this podcast we have not talked about because we know it's a rumor and we don't want to talk about it, or we don't
want to feed into the negativity and the rumors,
because that's another one of the things that I think is really great about this podcast is if we seem negative at points, we're not trying to be, we're just passionate about how much we love Star Wars. Like our whole Mando finale, I might have been passionate about my opinions. It doesn't mean I hate the finale. Doesn't mean I hate the Mandalorian. Doesn't mean I'm going to switch over to collecting G.I. Joe now. It means I love it so much that I just had a little harder bit of a critique on it, but I still love it as much as everybody else at this table.
Well, there's a difference between
what we do on this podcast, which is present information and then share our thoughts on the information versus someone telling you their personal opinion about news that may or may not be true. And then people take that person's opinion as how they should factually feel about whatever it is.
Whenever The Last Jedi first came out, that was I'll admit it. I fed into that. I
Me
left
too.
the theater.
I did too.
I left the theater. I loved the movie when I first saw it. I was like, wow, that was really good. And then I went online and I saw everybody just crap. It's a bad movie because this, and this. And I was like, yeah, it's a bad movie because the space bombs, they fell out of the ship. There's no gravity in space. I wouldn't do that.
Even
Guess what?
Ben Shapiro
Guess what?
shot on it.
Yeah, it's like, guess what? This movie, it's a movie with green wizard guy that talks backwards, and they all lift things with their minds, and they have plasma swords, and there's good guys and bad guys, and one of them's half a robot after being burnt alive in a volcano. And he's your heartthrob, by the way. So,
Yeah.
you have to realize that although people take this stuff seriously, it's all fiction. It's all fiction. It's built in a world of fantasy, and just because something that seems a little bit goofy in one way is going to get explained later, or you're just going to have to accept it for what it is. Because you don't know that there might have not been a gravity well inside that ship, and that's why the bombs were falling. Why was the person being able to stand still then when the gates were open? There might have been an artificial gravity field inside that ship that allowed the bombs to fall, and then the kinetic energy of them falling all just continued and hit the ship. But you don't know that. You just saw that when gravity in space, and then you... So,
it's like... Yeah, again, and that's another example of just people word vomiting at you.
And that's what I did.
I've heard that one, and I did it too, man. I hated The Last Jedi vehemently until I decided to watch it with my own perspective.
And now, after I've watched it with my own perspective, I still don't like the movie. I still am not going to go out of my way and be like, I'm going to sit down and watch this movie today. It's bottom choice for me if I'm going to sit down and watch Star Wars. But then again, there's stuff in that movie that I really, really, really like. I love the art direction. It's probably the most beautiful of all the Star Wars movies in its color palette and its cinematography. I love the way that they built up Kylo Ren's character. I like that he became more than just like, I'm just bad all the time. He became a struggling bad guy with his own ideals. Not necessarily pulling towards the light side, but pulling further and further to the dark side in an opposite way that we see Darth Vader. So, I liked it.
And that's the difference, though. It's Jacob is telling you that he doesn't like something. He's not telling you you shouldn't like this,
either.
And here's why.
Yeah.
You know, that's the trap that the fandom it constantly finds itself in. And again, it's like all people have to hear is the Lizzo Jack Black episode was bad because
Lizzo was in it. Nobody said anything about the doctor being in it. Nobody said it, whatever. Yeah, nobody said anything about that. Whoa, but because the body positive large black woman was in it, you hate it now? Huh?
Because Geeks and Gamers told you that.
It kind of sounds like you're racist. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it now. If you didn't like Lizzo just because it's Lizzo, you have some personal soul searching that you have to do within yourself to really come to a conclusion as to why didn't you like that cameo?
If you didn't like her performance, if you didn't like the episode, again, I'm not trying to take that away from you.
Jefferson's flute and kind of twerk with it.
What what kills me though is when people are like, and this episode was filler because Lizzo was in it, and she was only in it because of woke Lucasfilm. I'm like,
she was in it because she was a Star Wars
amazing
fan. And do you know the artist? It's like it's something Wong. I don't remember his first name, but he's a very not performance artist, like installation artist. He's on Joe Rogan a lot.
I know who you mean.
Yeah, he's in Mandalorian season 2 episode 1 as an extra. So you could be like, oh, they wanted a minority figure in Star Wars. That's just woke Star Wars. No, he speaks a line that he concocted for himself in Huttese, that he said it himself because he loves Star Wars so much that he went out of his way to learn Huttese and then speak a line when you're not even going to hear it. So it's like, this isn't a factor of, dude, James Bond is a stormtrooper in the sequels. These cameos aren't just given away lightly. These are like people that come to them and they're like, I really, really love this. I would love to have just the smallest part of it. Jack Black and Lizzo just got really lucky and they got to have quite a big part in it.
My favorite thing when people try to talk to me about Star Wars, and I can tell, I already know, but what YouTubers they watch before they even say it. Just from the way they talk about Star Wars, that I shout out to my buddy in one of my college classes, but we had a conversation about Star Wars like 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, and and the Mandalorian like was good, and then they had that stupid filler episode in there, and like the Bad Batch is just all filler, and like the sequels just sucked. They need to be decanonized, blah blah. And then he like 5 minutes later was like some Star Wars theory, and I was like, wow, I could have told you that you watched him before you even said anything, because it's this, people will spew all this stuff at me, and I'm like, as Luke Skywalker says in The Last Jedi, amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Yeah, it's
like, come on, man. I'm just, again, like, I talk to people about Star Wars all the time. I just enjoy it, and I'm just in it, and I really just don't have enough time in my day. But then again, I don't make thousands of dollars off of rage baiting and stuff like that.
That's why we're not at 1,000 yet, because people don't like to hear positive things. People
really like to poop on us, though.
That's why there will never be a truly independent president ever again, because nobody likes to vote for the guy that's respectable. Nobody likes to vote for the guy that is like, I see the argument on both sides and I would like to make a compromise. Everybody likes the guy that points at the other guy and goes, they're bad. They want to take all your money. They want to steal all your guns. They want to take away all your rights and blah, 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 blah. And then
they said you couldn't have McDonald's for a year.
Yeah, exactly. It's nobody wants to vote for the guy that's like has a level head anymore. It's all just like this. People treat sports, people treat politics, and people treat Star Wars all the same. You're on the side or you're not, and it's really, really, really annoying. Really, except for sports, because that's kind of like the point of it. But like politics and Star Wars, y'all need to just chill out and see things from other people's perspective sometimes, and grow your mind a little bit to see and to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes and to understand where they're coming from.
If you were new to the franchise, if you're a casual fan, what would be a checklist of do's and don'ts that you would give a new Star Wars fan when they're going online?
I would say, first of all, if you're watching any sort of creator, take everything they say with a grain of salt and then do your own research. Yep, even us, because if we produce a source, like at the beginning of this episode, I said Dave Filoni gave out his list of things that you should watch before Ahsoka comes out, and I immediately cited Figure Brian on Instagram. Now you can go check out that post that Figure Brian made, and then Figure Brian, if he has a source, that's great. If he doesn't have a source, oh well, take what I said with a grain of salt. I'm telling you what I saw from a guy that we've had be somewhat reliable a lot of the time. So
that's facts.
But that's facts. So take everything that you see from everyone with a grain of salt. If you see Kathleen Kennedy has mounted herself on a steed and is in a jousting match with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni at this very moment, go online, do a quick Google search about just Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni.
Yeah, it's literally from Collider, which is like a huge news source.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it, the whole Dave Filoni thing is a real thing.
So it's like, do your own, be more, and take this and not only just apply it to Star Wars, apply it to absolutely everything you hear in life that could have a profound effect or a little effect on your every day-to-day life.
Yep.
Because the more that you are informed as a human being, the better that you can make your own decisions, and you're not just going to be a sheeple of what you hear from some YouTuber to a news broadcast. You can be your own independent thinker, and you don't have to just go along with what you hear.
It's a lot cooler to have your own opinions, but that also would require you to be a mentally confident person. And a lot of people, like Jacob said, are sheeple. They really they want to fit in, they want to agree with the majority, and they'll die on a hill that they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Like probably one of the biggest proponents of people that like to go against the grain is Tommy. Every single time something comes out and a majority of people hates, Tommy finds somehow for it to become his favorite thing ever. Yeah. And that's not a diss towards Tommy. That's just he likes to find the good in what everybody else hates. He likes to go against the grain. And that's one of the things that makes Tommy awesome, because he can find things in that you hate, but he'll bring, like the entire Luke Skywalker argument in The Last Jedi. Never would have seen it, never even would have thought about it. But the way that he produces it as a hero can fail, it makes Luke Skywalker way more human. I like that argument. And like makes those movies way more enjoyable now. Because on the offhand, I used to hate it. Luke Skywalker would never do that. But then when you produce the argument that Tommy produces, it makes it believable and likable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or even just from the perspective of, well, of just honestly believe what you have. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've talked to people at school about stuff and been like, yeah, like, that was so awesome because that was supposed to lead to this and this. And they're like, well, actually, it should really be doing this and this. And I know what I'm talking about. We're kind of certified Star Wars smartasses sometimes. We're not, like, the greatest source of knowledge because there's people who have eons beyond of what I could even memorize.
But we're pretty damn close.
Yeah, but we're, we have a decent knowledge. So when people are talking to me about stuff, I just go, okay, I mean, you can say what you want to say, but I feel like that's wrong.
I've had on multiple instances, especially that we have a new coworker that he'll try to talk to me about. He'll try to talk to me about Star Wars, and the stuff that he'll say is
so glad I'm out of there.
It comes from a standpoint that's extremely uneducated. He called the new Star Wars game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Survivors. And he said that to me with a straight face. And when I said, it's Jedi Survivor, he said, no. I went, okay. It's there's also like the subset of people that I feel like, I don't think they're casual fans. I feel like they want to be diehard fans, but they just don't
think they're a diehard fan.
Yeah. They're just blissfully ignorant, to say the least. It's
but that's the thing. It's like you watch one of these YouTube videos, and you now have this newfound knowledge. You think you have this knowledge, and you want to be the person that shares that knowledge with all the other people. And if somebody is telling you otherwise, it's just shock. It's like, wait a minute. No, I have to be right. I can't be wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone does it. It's human nature. We hear something, we think it's right, and when a new perspective is presented to us, it can take a lot of convincing to get someone to see it from your point of view, let alone agree with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I'm kind of like glad I'm kind of getting through my college experience. It's so easy to grow up with, you have like your instilled mindset that you get as a child. And then lots of people, they'll keep that, or they'll absolutely flip it, and then they'll be like, I'm a rebel against my parents.
Go super against the grain.
Go super against it. Man. I feel like I have a nice developed frontal lobe where I take the morals and the values that I was instilled with as a child and throughout my entire growing age, and now I'm also getting the conflicting mindset in college, especially being in an art college, and there's a lot of different people with a lot of different perspectives on life, a lot of different identities about themselves and other things. And it's I learned to take everything into account now from everybody's point of view, like different like races, sexualities, genders. It's like I'm getting a really, really good grasp on what other people think, which is helping me expand my mind in a way that I think I can think about things and analyze things in a more wider, more objective point of view, rather than just having a very narrow mindset.
Wait, that's wrong. Wait, that's not right. It's the same thing though. Like the person that I am at work is different than the person that I am on the camera, is different than the person that I am off the camera with Jacob and Jackson. It's like there's different ways that, whether it's the way that I talk or, the things I choose to say, or it's or like how I am at the gym, like I don't talk to anybody when I'm at the gym. Like, but if any of those people at the gym knew I did a podcast, you probably wouldn't even recognize me. It's just one of those things where you have to also be able to just be able to adapt. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Star Wars fans, if you're new to Star Wars, my biggest advice, just if it's a clickbait thumbnail and it's a clickbait title and it's got something to do and it says Kathleen Kennedy something or something new Lucasfilm, or if you see that word woke, it's probably not true.
If you see a clip by Bombastic on YouTube with a really big and bold headline, the news is going to be mediocre, but it's majority of the time is true. It's just not exciting as the thumbnail and the title might make it out to be.
Yeah.
No dissing on bombastic.
Just don't fall into the trap, guys. Don't fall into the trap of the outrage culture, of the phony outrage, and especially if you've just got someone that's just screaming into their microphone telling you how you should feel about something. That's on you, honestly, if you don't think that that's an indicator this person's biased. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
What do you think, Jackson? What's something that new Star Wars fans should avoid?
Honestly, yeah, besides the Kathleen Kennedy stuff, just a lot of the Star Wars stuff for me as well is you just have to do your own research. I know so much that I do, and I love it because I'm always looking into more of it, is what... I thought you were laughing at me, dude.
No, I was just wondering what he was looking at.
I was looking at the Toy Box Rex.
Okay, never mind.
But I looked on the wrong side.
Yeah, but it's always looking up information as well. I mean, there's something called Wikipedia for a reason. There's hardcore people out there waiting till the shows drop at 3 a.m. to type about all the minute details. And then there's plenty of other people like us on the internet, or on our Discord, join the Discord, that can, like, provide good knowledge about different things and why they are the way they are.
Well, and Wikipedia is great because they have a distinction between legends and canon.
Yes, they do.
You can get all your information, and it's a great way, again, like, we spend so much time talking about legends versus canon. You can go to Wikipedia, and it really is a very, very accurate source 90% of the time when it comes to book stuff and comic stuff. I would say take that with a grain of salt, even if it says it is canon, because we've seen time and time again that the Disney canon, like the stuff on TV shows and movies,
trump everything.
They just will take stuff that happened in a comic and crumble it in a ball and throw it in the corner. Mm-hmm. So take it all with a grain of salt. Mm-hmm. My biggest advice: if it didn't happen on the screen, then I just pretend it didn't happen unless it's the Thrawn trilogy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, anyways.
That's what I would say, honestly.
Well, with that, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. We hope that you enjoyed. We hope that we didn't scare you away with us getting all fired up about our love for Star Wars.
If you have any topic suggestions you would like to hear us talk about on the podcast in the future while we're waiting for Ahsoka, let us know. We're down to talk about pretty much anything.
We'll be at a con next week.
We'll be at a con this Saturday.
This Saturday, crap. Yep.
Join these
Forgot
two
to mention that.
at Erie's LibCon.
These little silly
Library
gooses.
Con.
And then later, join Jackson and I at ICC.
End of May.
That'll be really, really fun. Come meet us. Come meet a bunch of other YouTubers that are in our Star Wars realm. And also go and meet the Rebels crew and Ian McDermott. I'm probably going to start releasing some like TikTok shorts or something like that leading up to the con about all the guests, who they are, what they do, where you can find them and stuff like that, just to advertise the con some more. Also, if you haven't already, please check out our Instagram. Join that giveaway. We're giving away a 501st pack. We're giving away a first edition Mando. We're giving away a snowy Mando and
Mace Windu.
A Mace Windu. Yes. And I might try to see if I could throw in something special if we can hit 1,000 subscribers before May 4th.
Whoa.
If you guys can make that possible, there might be a surprise. So please tell everybody you know. Share it to show it to your big YouTubers, your small YouTubers, all your friends. Get the word out, please. We'd very, very, very much appreciate it. This is a big giveaway. It's probably bigger than most big channels do.
For sure.
So please help us by having us help you. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment, follow us on all our social media, link down below. Jedi Survivor stream is probably already up. Check out the VOD. Join the Discord, join the Patreon. See ya!
Bye-bye, everybody!
Bye!